We begin with Newt Gingrich lashing out today, preparing a new attack ad targeting Mitt Romney after taking a beating, make that a whooping, from Romney in last night's Florida debate. And the Gingrich campaign is hitting back, digging into 2008 campaign ads for sources.
If a man's dishonest to obtain a job, he'll be dishonest on the job. Iowans deserve better.
That Mike Huckabee ad featured in a script for Gingrich's new ad sent out today. And it is crunch time with Republican presidential hopefuls entering the home stretch of the crucial Florida primary campaign. After a combative debate that saw Mitt Romney achieve what many thought impossible, the momentary muting of Newt Gingrich. Last night, it was Romney's counterattack on the key issue of immigration that set the tone, after Gingrich accused Romney of being anti-immigrant.
The idea that I'm anti-immigrant is repulsive. Having differences of opinions on issues does not justify labeling people with highly charged epithets.
All I want to do is allow the grandmother to be here legally with some rights to have residency but not citizenship, so that he or she can finish their life with dignity within the law.
Our problem is not 11 million grandmothers. Our problem is, all right.
Big applause line for Romney there. And you know Gingrich must have questioned his demand for audience participation, because even when he tried the tried and true strategy of attacking the media, Wolf Blitzer stood his ground.
This is a nonsense question. How about if the four of us agree for the rest of the evening, we'll actually talk about issues that relate to governing America?
Mr. Speaker, you made an issue of this week when you said that he lives in a world of Swiss bank and Cayman Island bank accounts. I didn't say that, you did.
I did, and I'm perfectly happy to say that on an interview on some TV show, but this is a national debate where you have a chance to get the four of us to talk about a whole range of issues.
But if you make a serious accusation against Governor Romney like that, you need to explain that.
You want to try again? I mean,
wouldn't it be nice if people didn't make accusations somewhere else that they weren't willing to defend here?
Okay. All right.
Mitt Romney shoots, he scores. But wait, what about Mitt's investments in Fannie and Freddie, Newt's latest line of attack? Surely the $1 million historian could get in a zinger or two on that. Not so much.
First of all, my investments are not made by me. My investments for the last 10 years have been in a blind trust, managed by a trustee. Mr. Speaker, I know that sounds like an enormous revelation, but have you checked your own investments? You also have investments through mutual funds that also invest in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Now, just for the record, according to Boston Globe reports, Romney actually does have investments in Fannie and Freddie that aren't in a blind trust. But Mitt's got so much money, he can't even count at $150 million, $200 million. It's something like that neighborhood. But we know Mitt is a money man. Where was Newt, the idea man, the guy who wants to put America's 51st state on the moon? After all, if not for President Gingrich, the Chinese might colonize the moon first.
I do not want to be the country that, having gotten to the moon first, turned around and said, it doesn't really matter. Let the Chinese dominate space. What do we care?
I spent 25 years in business. If I had a business executive come to me and say they wanted to spend a few $100 billion to put a colony on the moon, I'd say you're fired.
That must have felt good. We know how Mitt likes to fire people. Let's bring in our fantastic Friday political panel. With us from Washington, MSNBC political analyst, former DNC communications director Karen Finney, and Washington Post political columnist Dana Milbank. And on the scene in Florida, Democratic strategist Julian Epstein, with us from Miami. Now, Karen, let me start with you. I have this sinking feeling that Newt Gingrich could possibly be sinking beneath his own weight here. I mean, what happened to the neutron bomb? Did it self-implode in Florida?
I think it did, actually. I think what we're seeing is exactly what has been Newt's problem all along, which is he does worse when he does better. He is just so into himself that when he's doing well, he can't stand it, and he kind of lets his guard down and starts talking about colonizing the moon rather than focusing on being prepared for game day. I mean, one of the notable things I think about last night's debate was also that, I mean, Gingrich just did not seem like he came as well prepared and fired up, ready to go as Romney did. I don't think he expected Romney to have actually done his homework. And you could tell Romney not only was prepared with answers, but he was prepared with answers that would kind of flip those things back on Newt and make Newt look ridiculous. And he did it very well.
But of course, Karen, Mitt Romney is a guy who has always done his homework. He did every bit of homework he ever did. He ever was assigned. So why on earth would Newt make that sort of assumption? It boggles the mind.
Because he's the smartest guy in the race, and of course he's going to be president.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is that. Julian, you're down in Florida. Gingrich today doubled down on a comment that I find kind of striking. You said that an Iranian nuclear weapon could lead to what he called a, quote, second Holocaust. Now, he's going to be speaking at a Republican Jewish coalition rally in just a few minutes, but how do you think a comment like that is going to play with the sizable Jewish electorate in Florida?
Well, I think what it does is it tends to make him more radioactive than anything else, and you see the combination between the brouhaha about the open marriage comments last week, the point about other languages being ghetto languages. All of these things, I think, as Karen indicated, really shows a lack of discipline. The story, I think, last night, really, Gene, was there's been a lot of question as to whether Mitt Romney has a glass jaw, meaning he couldn't take a punch. I think what we saw last night was an answer to the question as whether he's got a glass fist, meaning he couldn't throw a punch. And I think last night he showed that he probably could throw a punch, and he threw a punch relatively well at Gingrich, particularly on the Fannie-Freddie investment question. But the real question is, can he throw a knockout punch? And right now, even though you see all of the indications down here that Mitt is going to win next Tuesday, you feel and sense the beginning of a surge for Romney, there still is going to be enough anti-Romney sentiment in the campaign, and Santorum is playing on this as well, that even if he wins on Tuesday and wins in Maine and the following three primaries, this thing could still go on until the end of March. There just is that much anti-Romney sentiment amongst Republican primary voters. All you need is another Sheldon Adelson to fund a Gingrich or someone else or Santorum, and this thing could just go on indefinitely.
Now, Dana, let me turn to you. You and I were in London at the same time, and you probably remember this. This is one of the greatest political quotes of all time. Jeffrey Howe and Dennis Healy having a fight, and Jeffrey Howe criticizes Healy, and Healy says of Howe, well, being attacked with him is like being savaged by a dead sheep. And that leads me to the question of whether can Mitt Romney throw a punch? He can throw one that can hurt Newt Gingrich. Can he hurt Barack Obama with the punch?
I've been wondering, Gene, who the dead sheep in this race is, so I'm glad you were able to clarify that for us. Romney has a new debate coach, and whatever they're paying him, they should double it. That was a significant improvement in performance. I suspect Newt was going to sort of collapse under his own weight, if it's okay to say that, but he had clearly was throwing bombs every which way. It was hard to see how things were ever going to coalesce in his favor. So I'm not sure it's so much Romney's performance improving.
Dana, what about the history, though? We have written Newt Gingrich off for dead at least 3 times so far. He seems to do so much better when we are writing him off, when he's down in the polls. Does he have another comeback in him?
Well, who knows? But ultimately, it's hard to see where he gets to the nomination. And it is true, he is always better in opposition. He was good ousting the Democrats from power in the House. He was better at that than he was at actually leading the Republicans. So, and because he is a bomb thrower as opposed to a leader. The problem is it now appears that he's fading, but the damage that he's done to the likely nominee, Romney, is real and probably will be lasting because he's driven the negatives of everybody in the race up now, and the public has become disenchanted with a whole lot of them.
Karen, let me talk to you about one of those negatives. This question of money and wealth.
Yeah.
Is the DNC just kind of rubbing its hands together when you've got Romney and Gingrich arguing over whose blind trust is blinder,
exactly.
and who has any idea how much money he might have? Is this helpful, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Although I think maybe part of what we're seeing is Newt Gingrich is a little jealous because Mitt Romney's got a bigger blind trust. But, yeah, I mean, look, when push comes to shove, the problem that both of these men would have against Barack Obama in a general election, and frankly, I think that the down-ballot Republicans are realizing this, it forces their party into having to defend not only, it's not about just the 1% and the 99%. It's about having wealth, having gotten wealth through the very broken system that prevents other people from being able to make money, save money, invest, and what have you. I mean, when you listen to both of them talk, they're so out of touch with, how most of us live our lives.
Well,
I mean,
Karen,
Mitt Romney and his whole, I'm a historian, it's pay for play, what he was doing.
Karen, your money doesn't go on vacation in the Swiss Alps and in the Cayman Islands? I'm surprised.
It does not. I've tried, but I guess I just don't have enough.
Well, we'll get there someday. Karen Finney, Dana Milbank, Julian Epstein, thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, Jim.